So, Luke, what in the world happened to your foot?
Thank you, Angel, for bringing that up for the world to hear. I actually twisted it doing fight choreography last week with your son, believe it or not.
My youngest son?
Yeah, Ethan, your youngest son.
My 9-year-old?
Well, that doesn't matter. That's beside the point. The fact is, we were fighting together, and we were doing one more take, and I spun around, and my foot didn't come with me.
One. You have to watch him.
He didn't do it. Okay, I did it. He just happened to be there.
Okay, that sounds good.
I don't feel like you believe me. Eh?
Luke, I've just known you for many years.
Okay.
And
all right, here we go.
I just don't know if you embellish things or if you're just trying to milk something.
You think I'm milking this?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
You know how hard it is to worship on Sunday when you go up to the front, you're going side to side, and then you have to limp back to your seat. Like, did you go up for a miracle and nothing happened?
How many people noticed you and patted you on the back and said something kind to you and had their sweet little sympathy for you?
I've had all kinds of things. I've had, what's going on? Were you dancing in the mirror? Is there trouble at home? Like, I've just had all these things that I'm like.
Well, we'll have to ask Kendra about that. So Ethan is really excited about tonight because he has told me that you guys are going to be fighting again. So
that's right.
You need to watch your back.
Oh, it's not choreography. This is the real thing.
What does that mean?
Well, I actually brought about 5 sticks with me, so I
hope
he's ready.
And your limping foot too?
Okay, all right. Anyway, I'm Luke McIntyre.
And I am Angel Woodard.
Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe for more content.
Welcome to Poiema Backstage. Poiema Arts Incorporated serves as a training ground for individuals who seek to develop their craft in a cutting-edge, biblical, and Christ-centered environment where they will be mentored and equipped to excel in their specific discipline to strategically impact the arts community locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. That is Poiema. We're here to take you backstage. So, Luke, we have the up-and-coming production of Similitude, March the 19th and 20th.
Right.
We're so excited about it. Let's talk about that. Let our viewers know what's going on.
So the first thing, like you mentioned, Angel, it's called Similitude. It's based off of Pilgrim's Progress, and a lot of people don't know this, but Pilgrim's Progress, the original name that Thomas Bunyan had intended for it was Similitude of a Dream. And so in writing the script, Michael Green thought, well, let's just take that name and run with that, which actually worked out pretty well. So we just went through the story, and it actually had pretty big significance with me. I looked over, I had an abridged version of the story about 10 years ago, and it just kind of blew my mind seeing all the different characters.
Yeah, I remember reading it many years ago, but I was really young, and there was a lot of characters.
There are a lot of characters. Fortunately, we did not put all of them into this production.
Yeah.
Because that would be 16 hours.
It's a great classic.
It is. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was in 1566 that it was actually written.
Wow. Okay.
And at the time, it was the book that was in second print next to the Bible. So it was actually a really big deal.
Wow.
And we actually still, like, even in, mainstream media, there are terms that come from Pilgrim's Progress that most people don't even know that anymore. So anyway, we're using that story to portray the journey of a man from his previous life to the city, the celestial city, to meet the king and just escape the coming destruction of his previous city.
And I understand there's an incredible amount of moving parts all throughout the script.
Well, one, it was crazy because we really pulled an audible when we started working on it. So we were kind of building the plane in the air. So we were coming up with the script, coming up with the characters, and then casting the characters. And that's just stuff getting the script to put in front of people. Once that was done, there were so many parts that we had to consider. So obviously with actors, there's lines, but then there's also the songs that we're going to be doing. So there was so much singing. It's based off of 2 different albums. So pulling those together, who would be able to sing those, right? I think out of the 46 songs, I think we're singing about 26 of them, or 26 of them are being portrayed.
That's amazing.
And a few of the singers, myself included, are singing for at least a third to half, 2/3 of the production.
Okay. So it's a musical.
Absolutely. It's based off of 2 albums by Neil Morris, which both of those albums are based on Pilgrim's Progress. The first one is called Similitude of a Dream. The second one is called The Great Adventure. And
My son loves all of his music.
I had never heard of him before.
Yeah.
But I just listened to it on repeat.
He loves his music.
I mean, and it's just so many motifs. And they're really two great
Incredibly
albums.
Creative.
So it follows the journey of a man from the city of destruction to the celestial city. And then the second album talks a little bit more about the son. So in working with the script, Michael and I how can we combine these two albums? How can we combine the journeys of these two characters and watch that play out on a stage? And so you've got about 26 songs that are involved in it, so many dances. Levi.
And the dances are so creative. They're so different. Yeah.
Absolutely, from one end to the other. You've also got so many dances. There's tap, there's ballet, there's hip hop. I mean,
and some of the tappers are, this is like their first year, and they're just doing so well.
Right. I mean, a lot of them, again, they'd never done it before. Didn't even know that they would like it.
Right.
But they've attached to it, and you would think that they've been doing it for years. And so it's really cool to see all of those styles. But again, there's so many hours of work that they put into it. Right. So for the 2.5, hours that someone might see of a production on stage, there were countless hours of individuals working individually, but also coming together to practice. So you've got the script, you've got the dancing.
Unicycle? Got a unicycle in there?
Yeah. Now, who? That's the same person that you're claiming injured me, I believe, your son.
Maybe.
Since we're talking about it, fight choreography.
Oh, yeah.
That was a kind of a last minute decision that was brought up.
But it's so cool.
It's
so
phenomenal.
Cool. Yeah.
We brought in like these long, I don't know what you'd call them, beams, sticks to fight with.
There's just so much creativity to it. It's really great watching it all come together. And the dancers and the nights they're just sweaty and they're just tired and exhausted, but yet they're excited at the same time.
But that's the thing. So you say, for instance, you learn the words, you learn the songs, and you learn the dance. That's fantastic. But now you have to do all of them together. And that's like...
And how's that going for you, by the way?
No, it's not going well. Thank you for asking. It's not going well. I have this one scene where I have to tap, and say these lines after singing. And so far, I can't do it to save my life. So thank you for asking. I do appreciate your concern there.
We will make a note of that, and we're going to watch how that plays out for you.
Oh, no, we're not going to watch it. We are not going to watch it. We are going to edit it out. No, we're going to work on it. It's going to be great.
And I think what's really great is, sometimes when you're getting to the end of the production, everyone's wondering, are we going to be able to pull this together? And it's, it's just like this magical 2 or 3 nights before, the full dress rehearsal that it all just pops together.
Right.
That's where the adrenaline and the life and things like really start growing.
And really the inspiration to do it again for another show.
Right.
But, it's interesting. So while we're talking about this, we're talking about the parts that people get to see when they come to a production, but that's only half of it. There's so many other things that happen behind the scenes that even the actors and the dancers may not necessarily know or be a part of. So what exactly does that look like? Well,
there's an incredible amount of strategic planning that goes behind the scenes. And so, you're talking about everything from sponsorships to just setting out the schedules and how far are we setting them out and rehearsals and auditions and all of those things. And so there really is an art behind that of learning how to really be good with time management. That's obviously, that has to drastically be on your side when you're working with productions and hard deadlines.
Absolutely.
I personally love working with deadlines. I love working with budgets. And so it makes it fun because there's not a lot of wiggle room when you've got an actual hard stop date for production. And so that's a lot of fun. There can be times that things can be very stressful.
I'll bet.
And we talk about the importance of the teams, where you've got the costumes. You've got all these different departments and techs and crews and stuff that they have to be able to work together. They have to work in their own entity, but then as they come and they join together, that's really the beauty of it, because you have different expressions.
Right.
People that are working in the tech department, their eyes are going to be looking for different things than what the costume manager might be looking for.
Sure.
But when it all comes together, there is something that's really fun when you pull things together. And that's really what it should be. It should be fun. It's like living in the kingdom of God should be fun.
Absolutely.
And so it's great seeing young people. It's great seeing older people. just letting their hair down.
Right.
Well, I'm
No,
sorry.
no, we're here. It's fine.
I forgot that
You forgot. Okay.
Well, anyways, go ahead.
Moving on. So I think it is cool because when you bring in the different parts, creating something together brings a life in and of itself.
Sure.
There's life that you bring to something, but then that thing takes on a life of its own.
It's organic.
Right. And I just love seeing that play out. And I'm starting to notice a change in a lot of the actors and the dancers as well. During this scene, it's a lot quieter. It's a lot funnier. This dance is more captivating.
It's like they're finding their place.
Absolutely. I think it's incredible when you look at some of the younger people who at the beginning of this year, they were newbies in a whole lot of areas, but now they're dancing, they're singing,
yes,
they're tapping.
And I think it's one of the things, it's like when you bring your talent to the Lord, it's like he flourishes that. He increases it honestly in a very short amount of time.
Right.
If you truly give yourself to it. I've seen that happen many times before.
There's a term that I've always heard, and maybe I've thought about it in some degrees. I definitely haven't thought about it like this, but the term starving artist. Everybody's heard it. Everybody knows what it is. But this idea of, someone living off of their art, and you never see a whole lot of progression there. And part of me thinks it's like, well, one, there's probably like an idea of grandeur that sometimes artists have of what they can do. But I think a lot of the most detrimental thing to an art or a gift that you have is being isolated from others who could help you bring it to life or bring it to bear. And that's what I really love about what Poiema is and where Poiema is at right now. There are so many individuals who, you and I have both known for years. I mean, even ourselves, where we've had, giftings that we've used in different capacities, but bringing it together under the umbrella of what we're doing now has brought such a level of life.
Well, I've, done church administration for many years. And so it's like being able to bring that into theater and into Poiema has been, it's been so much fun. It's been incredibly rewarding. And, it's like God gave us the administration, and we just have to know how to be able to use it right. And, and through that, it's like incredible teams can be built. And, it's like there's just an unlimited amount of resources when you really can tap into that creativity.
That's cool. I'm thinking about the situation in the Bible, and, when Moses steps onto the scene and he's up on the mountain, he's got the vision from God of what, the tent of meeting is supposed to look like. And, he's got all the measurements. He's got, all the
Very
materials
precise.
that's supposed to be.
Everything's
Exactly.
very
It says,
precise.
see to it that everything follows the blueprint,
Right.
But Moses didn't go out there and build it by himself. There were master architects he had to call on. I mean,
Carpenters.
God called them out by name, You need to,
Right.
and then, even the people became a part of the vision because they started giving the cloth and the precious metals that they needed, and every joint supplied in order to bring this thing that Moses was given by God to bear. And God's glory could really just shine on that because the people's hearts were united in what they were doing. Now there's a lot of places where, dysfunction came later. But it's kind of cool in those small instances to see where
there
the
was
heart
such a
is right.
spirit of excellence that was really demanded in that season. And so I've always loved just reading about the tabernacle because of that. And so, but yeah, I think it's true. It's like, following a leader who knows how to not just lead, but also listen to the team as well. I mean, I think that's really important. And so being able to hear their hearts, and, there's some leaders who it's kind of like they're building their temple in a way, and they want it to be a certain way. And the thing is, the ignorance of that is that, if you live a life that's always about your legacy, it's like you're all the people that's behind you that you're supposed to touch and reach. You're not able to do that.
Right. I was actually talking with a friend of mine a few days ago, and we were talking about something along the same lines that really makes the distinction between types of leaders. You have those leaders who, they end up, maybe they use different terminology, but they're discipling others to do what they do. Whereas you have others, it's about them, it's about their face, it's about their brand. And when they're gone, it face plants.
Right.
And so I think that's another reason that, even in the arts, you see legacy playing into the different parts of it. Even just going with Moses again, Moses has the structure that God wants, but his uncle has to come along and say, look, you can't do this by yourself. Appoint different men who are who are godly, who have the Spirit of God, and
right. And everyone has their own expression, and so it may not look exactly like you think it's going to. But if you really submit it to the Lord, it's like it's going to be exactly what He said. And that's the beauty of working with the Lord.
Right. Why do you think so many visionaries struggle to let other people in?
The first thing that comes to my mind is really the trust issues. Is their ability where a leader feels like that they're able to entrust what they've carried so deeply in their heart, the vision. They're creative. They're out of the box. I mean, like they go to the sky and back, the moon and back, and they carry all these precious things inside of them. But some of it, I think, can be a level of trust, of being willing, able to release that very most precious dream that they're carrying. I was just thinking of the word inspiration. And I think for people who are in the arts, the word inspiration is incredibly important. So, you have people on your team that are inspired. Well, what are they inspired by? I think if you're all inspired by generally the same thing, or if there's this passion, it's like if people have passion and motivation inside of them, they're going to join a team and they're going to go far with it.
Sure.
Because I can't put passion in you.
Right.
You can't do the same. We can't put that in the hearts of young people. It's like it has to be birthed inside of them.
Have you ever seen the movie Remember the Titans?
Yes. Yeah.
At the beginning of the movie, you've got Coach Boone, who's it's all about winning, and he's really shaping these boys who can't stand each other. They've got all these issues, and they're divided, racial lines, and all of that. Right. And they start building this season together. And then they get down to the last game, and it's not going the way they saw it. And he says to them, we gave it our best shot. You did all you can do. And one of the players says, with all due respect, no, it's not. You demanded perfection of us. That's how we stepped out. And with all due respect, that's how we want to leave it. Right. And I think that's amazing, because the vision that the coach had at the beginning, even at his lowest point, he's got, one of the players carrying that vision even in his weak point. And by the time it's over, they do accomplish what they originally set out to do. And I think that's the amazing thing about vision, is when someone else can catch the vision, they can help the other person when they struggle with the vision.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to always know what that vision is. The Bible says people perish because of the lack of vision that's inside of them. And so I think always knowing why we're here and what's the reason, what's the why of what we're doing. I think if you're always keeping that fresh in the hearts of people, they understand that, and it gives them a remembrance of, okay, this is why we're here. This is what we're creating. This is the culture that we're wanting to build. So I think that's all a part of a leader. You're asking about how can a leader begin to build and what can be the dysfunctions of that. If you don't have those things, that definitely can create the dysfunction and the breakdown among the teams.
Right. And I think about the other scripture where it says hope deferred can make the heart sick. When people lose vision, along with what you were saying, it does become hard to want to be there. It does become hard to want to play your part, even if you know what the vision is. And somewhere along the way, if someone becomes tired or weary and that vision hasn't been owned by everyone to a certain degree, it becomes hard to carry on, because people kind of fizzle out. So it is important to have team. It is important to have a corporate vision together.
It's God's design, completely His design for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just recently, one of our pastors was talking about being in one accord, and he referenced Acts, where it was just going over how everyone was in one accord and just talking about the model of the church in the very early beginnings. And one of the words he said that struck out to me was how in the Greek there was this association with intensity, like being in one accord with intensity. And I think that's very vital and crucial when you're trying to put on a production, because at any given point in time, we're all human. It can become about one person. Somebody can be in a role and all of a sudden they feel like it revolves around them, or somebody can do something well and it can easily go to the head. Right. And so it's the big thing about unity is when you see every joint that supplies, and when every joint is aligned the way that it should be, it's kind of like a safeguard against those issues, whether that's a conversation with someone, whether it's seeing what other people do, or really seeing what your part is in the bigger context, because no one person is bigger than all the parts combined.
And I think that's the beauty of just the unity of just working together. There's something that's really unique about that. And people, it's like, when you're working with cast members, there has to be a sense of vulnerability, and there has to be a sense of being able to trust those that are around you. And so when you hear their voice, you understand that it's not criticism. At first it's like, obviously if people deal with weaknesses or if they have insecurities in their life, maybe in the beginning it might come out that way or they may hear it that way. But as they see and the love of the people and what you're talking about, unity and one accord, I think there's something that's so beautiful, and there's such a safety net in that even for the ones who come in that maybe they're amateurs and they've never acted before, and they're insecure, but they come in and they feel that sense of what we would call family, or you're saying it's one accord. There's something so beautiful in that, and it just brings such a tender passion into the room.
Right. I don't know why I'm feeling another movie reference coming here. Do you remember? Have you ever seen The Temptations?
If I have, it's been a long time ago.
It's been a long time for me too. I can't even remember the actors' names. I think one guy is Leon, but you had this one actor, and he was the lead singer for the group, and he just was so full of himself, and in fact, he wanted to put his name out front in front of all the others, and what you really saw was the beginning of the team starting to just deteriorate. And
no one wants to follow that. It's an idol.
Right. When they become icons, it becomes disgusting very quickly. I can't tell you how many times I've followed something or a craft or an art, and when it became about a person,
when it gets to a certain point, it's like you just stop.
Right. Yeah. Especially when you're doing something for God, doing something in kingdom, and doing something at the heart of family. When that's no longer the focus, it becomes very evident to the people that you're working with. And even if it's not evident to those in the audience at first, it won't be hidden for long.
Well, it's just like in your family when, you're at home, and whether it's your wife or my children, I walk into a room and I'm like, something in the atmosphere is not right here. You can just sense it. Either someone, is upset about something, or it just, their day didn't go great, and so they're a little edgy. You can sense that in the room. And it's like the same way. It's like there's an aura about, maybe an individual that when everything is centered around them, it's like they don't allow people to bring any form of criticism in a corrective way or just in a loving way. It's like they shield that, and there's a stench with that. And people,
Absolutely.
It's like, they are going to walk away from that. Because it doesn't build any form of sense of family, and you can see that everything is truly about them.
And it's hard too, because there have been so many. I mean, I can think to my own life when there have been more individuals concerned about preserving their vision for something than preserving relationships and than preserving family, regardless of how instrumental they may have been in creating this vision.
Right.
It's like they'd be willing to burn those bridges and everything that comes with it and hold on to this vision.
And that's such a foolish mindset. It really is. And I think once the person is like, once they get to the end of the road and they realize that there's no one there with them, it's such a hollow place to be.
Talking about Every Joint Supplying, it's really cool to listen to it playing out in real time. It's like, it starts out conceptually, but this is what it looks like for a production like this. And it looks a certain way in the business place. And you can't do it if every joint is not supplying. So it really does come back to team, and not only team, but it comes back to unity of the team to accomplish a set goal. And again, having vision that a leader is putting forth, that people can really connect to that vision and play their part, and just
vision that is long lasting. It's
Absolutely.
like legacy driven.
Legacy driven. No, I like that. Because you have, people from different generations working together for a common goal. And it's just really cool to see different individuals of different ages working together.
Right.
Except Ethan. He's in a different category.
He's such a cute one, though.
Well, he is, but sometimes this is a whole nother soapbox. Like, cute can be deceiving. It's a seed, right? You plant it, but you don't know what it's going to grow into. It's like you smile at them, you give them a hug, and then they whack you with a stick. while their mother
I told
smiles.
you have to watch your back, Luke. You have
anyway,
to.
he's probably coming in soon, so I'm going to have to cut this short. Anyway, I need to go and get ready for this fight. Once again, my name is Luke McIntyre. This is Angel Woodard. We want to thank you guys for spending time with us today. Please remember, if you're free, March 19th and 20th, our production Similitude will be on stage. We hope you found today's conversation helpful. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.
We want to thank all of our viewers for watching this episode of Poiema Backstage. If you have found that this episode has challenged you, changed you, enlightened you, or inspired you, then consider being one of our Backstage partners. If you would like more information, you can contact us at info@poiemaac.com. Again, that's info@poiemaac.com.